Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. I'm going to work on this Bally Star Trek a little bit further here. The last video I went through, basically rebuilt this board, went through and worked on this board, rebuilt it. Rebuilt it, just recapped it and fixed this transistor, did the Clay Harrell's upgrades on the back of it. I just called Clay. I don't know if he invented them, but he kind of popularized them anyway. So the board on here was total disaster. The battery leaked all over the place. This connector here is horrible. It literally burned up all over the board. So I'm gonna repin this. I got all my stuff here. I'm not gonna film this, but I'm just gonna repin this real quick, and I'm gonna throw in a Weebly board here and see if we can get this thing booted up. I've already checked. I've got all my voltages, so we'll start with that. So I got that connector repinned. Normally I would just reuse this, and I ultimately will reuse this one, but it's so charred up and that black soot there, it's highly conductive. So I'll run this through the ultrasonic and then put it in my parts bin, but I basically just wanted to get this out so I could clean it really well, because I don't want any conductivity. I didn't know how much of it's inside, so it looks pretty bad. So just be precautionary. I just put in a new one, and I'll keep this as a spare. All right, so I got the new board in there. I'm gonna boot it up here. I'm gonna talk about the displays here in a second. They're a mess. Should have been counting these. It is booted. You can see the playfield lights are doing their thing. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the menus here. So there's flashing the bulbs. So a bunch of bulbs are not working. Okay, so the next one is the displays. Let me show you a couple of the displays. I pulled these out because they were the worst. You see that chip? Totally fried. This one actually blew out. Crazy. So I've got them all unplugged. They were still glowing. I mean, we saw them, they're all glowing. So I don't know what had happened, but I suspect probably just swapping this chip on all of them will bring them back. Some of them are actually, like this one's got a moderate amount of burns. Those black dots, those are not going to go away. Some of the other ones are actually worse. One of them, yeah, that one's really bad. Player 4, of course. Player 3's pretty bad too. That one's good, and the player 1 that's down here is actually pretty good. So I'll probably try swapping those chips out. But so let me go to the next one. We'll go through the solenoids. So it's going through them 1, 2, 3. There, I think there's 12 or 15. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. So you heard the knocker, you heard the coin lockout, and you heard the flipper solenoid up there. So it's working, except for everything on the playfield, which means probably the fuse on the playfield is blown. So let's swap the fuse on the playfield and then blow it, because one of the coils is shorted out. So that's the next thing I'll do. So here's the fuse. Well, that fuse holder is not very great. Probably just look at it and see it's blown. Yeah, I don't know if it shows through on the camera. It's having a hard time focusing, but I can see with my eyeball it's blown. So I'm gonna put a 1 amp slow blow in there and see what that does for. All right, I got the new 1 amp slow blow in there. So let me. It's booting up right now. Getting the flashes. And then we'll go through the solenoid test and see what happens. All right, so we're booted up. First one's the lights. The next one, now we're in displays. Now we're going to go into the solenoid. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Okay, so we did So there was no gaps, and it went all the way through and circled around. So there was a click for every single one. So they're all working. So that's working. That's good. Let's look at the displays next, maybe. Actually, before we do the displays, I'm going to show you this. If I plug in, let me turn the game off. If I plug in this soundboard and boot it up, what we're going to see is it won't boot up. It will get 6, but not 7. 1, 2. No, that was actually, here, let me do it again. On these Weebly boards, a little flicker at the beginning, it's actually a whole flash. So it's really like 8 flashes. So just ignore the first one because it's a full flash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not booted. It didn't get the 7th flash. So for whatever reason, this thing is keeping the game from booting. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my solenoid voltage. I don't even know if this thing, I'm not positive if this thing uses the solenoid voltage. I'm guessing it probably does, because I know the MPU requires a solenoid voltage to get that 7th flash. So maybe this thing is pulling it down. So I must check that out first. So just off camera, I measured right here, this last test point here closest to me. I measured that it's 45 volts with this thing plugged in or unplugged. So didn't make any difference. But for whatever reason, this is causing a problem keeping the game from booting, which is kind of weird. I'm not really, off the top of my head, I don't know what would do that. But to start with, actually, I think I'll go back to my original plan, and I will work through these displays first, and then we'll come back to the soundboard. So I'm going to take one of these. Let me just plug these back in. So these other ones are not blown up. First off, well, that one. No, that's just dirt. Let's do, yeah. All right. So anyway, I'm going to take, I guess the first thing I'll do is I'll just plug them in and show you that they do light up, but they've just got garbage on them. So we turn the game on right now. See, it's locked on. Shouldn't have anything on there right now. Still not booted there. Now we're booted and we've got all 8s. That's not right. So if we go through the test, next one will be the display test. It's just all 8s. And it's not doing that strobing thing in real life. That's just the filming of it. So it's just every digit is locked on all the time. So I'm going to take this and on the bench and maybe check the little transistors on there, but I'm guessing probably that chip is blown. So I've got this board here on the bench. So these are drive the segments right here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. These drive the segments. This one are the pre-transistors, and these are the final transistors for each digit. But these are the segments here in the middle. So, like this is one segment here. That's 1, 2, 3. So got 0.65, 0.652. See, those are normal looking readings. No shorts. So I'm thinking it's this chip, so I'm gonna go ahead. I guess I could measure a couple on these chip. It looks like the ground right there, maybe. I'll try the other way. It's looking pretty normal. Let me swap hands. Ooh. Oh, those are actually tied together. Huh. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. There's a trace around there. So that is, I don't know if that's either the ground or the 5 volts. That is the ground right there, so that'd be the 5 volts on that end. Oftentimes, ooh, see, that's a short, and I don't think those are supposed to be shorted there. I'm yanking it. Little fanage. All right, grab a socket, throw it in there real quick. Just stuck that in there. Just solder it up real quick. So how about these segment drivers from Great Plains? Yeah, the guy that runs the place has since gone out of business, but you can get these. I think Marco sells them. Also, Big Daddy sells a lot of this stuff too. In fact, Big Daddy, he sells like little kits. He'll have one of these for that. He'll have 3 or 4 of those. Some of the 100K resistors. So there's 2 different types of transistors on here. So I have a kit to basically rebuild one of these things. So. Yeah, I gotta bend these legs down a little bit. And we'll throw it in the game and see if that does anything for us. All right. So we give it a few seconds to boot up. Okay, we got zeros. That's right. So 2 zeros. I'll go through the test, see what the rest of this thing does. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so that one's fixed. Gosh, I should have reflowed the solder while I had that thing out. It didn't on the header pins. I bet that they look like dog crap. But the good news is I've got the other 4 are probably all the same thing, because those 2 were, like I showed you, were totally blown out. And yet that one wasn't blown, the chip wasn't blown out, but that's what fixed it. So I'm guessing all 5 of them have that chip was bad, because none of them were working. So probably 2 of them I may not even mess with fixing, like this one. It's so bad, it's pretty much a junk board at this point. Anyway, so I don't think I'll film the rest of fixing the rest of them, because it's going to be the same old. So I guess the next thing of interest is going to be this. Well, there's this. Hold on a second. Django, be good. There's a lamp driver board. Well, let's just go through the test, see what we got here. Actually, to be honest, until I change some bulbs, there's no point in doing this, because most of the bulbs are out in this game. I mean, even the back box there, you see how many of them are dead. So there's no point trying to chase down which ones are working and which ones are not until I get some new bulbs in here. And actually, for that matter, this guy's he wants LEDs, so we're not going to use that board. So We're going to put in a wheelie board, lamp board, so we can use the LEDs. So may or may not even go through that board at this point. So really, it's just this board here. Oh my gosh! You see that? I just noticed that. That's not good. Huh. That could be a problem. I think I'll change that chip, recap it, and swap out that chip, and see where that goes. So there's a really good guide online to repair these, and I've repaired quite a few of these. The issue is, you got to go through it. Basically, you got to have it in the game and use a logic probe to test it. Then you got to get to the sound test where it's making the sounds and put your logic probe in different pins. And it basically, if it passes the test, you go to the next step, and it'll say either change this chip or do this such and such. It's kind of just a logical approach. But I can't even get this game to boot with this thing right now. But maybe if I swap that chip out there, I can at least get it to boot, and then I can go through and fix the rest of it, assuming that doesn't fix it. So anyway, I probably have that chip. I think I've got all the chips for this board. I'm gonna find out here in a second, but I'm gonna pull this board and swap that chip out. Here's the board on the bench. I'm gonna take out this U1 here real quick. Get the game or the board plugged in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we're still not getting the 7th blink. And I know, here, I'm gonna turn it off, unplug this thing. I can unplug it one-handed. Flash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's booted up. So I really can't diagnose this board because I need the game to be booted up so I can diagnose this thing. I guess I could put it in. Well, I can't put it in another board because it's going to probably keep it from booting also. So I can't do anything with this. I may have another old Bally. I think they also make aftermarket soundboards. I'm pretty sure they do actually. I'm gonna see if maybe Wheelie sells one. If he does, I may just grab one for him. So I pulled this board out of here, and I was pretty sure I had an old Bally board in the back, and I did. And it is actually from a Star Trek. And I read a Star Trek dead. I could not fix. That was my note to myself. I tried fixing it. I ended up swapping the 555, 4 more chips, and I recapped the whole thing. Looks like I put a new pot in there. I couldn't get the thing to work. Well, I just threw it in there right now. I just turned the game on right now. The sustaining is a little high, but otherwise, it's certainly working. So, I don't know, on the game I was working on, I must have had a bad input signal or something, or I don't know, because the diagnostic got to do, you measure, there's several points where you're measuring the voltages, so I had all the voltages. I don't know. It's weird because on that game, I think I ended up putting in an aftermarket Weebly board. They're about $100, and it started working. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Unless it was a connection issue on that other board, and then when I put in the new board, it had better pins. I don't know. I can't. really justify why it's working in this one. It wasn't working in the other one, but it is working, so that's good news. So this one, like I said, so this game has seen some bad problems. So on the other one, if you remember, this thing was shorted out right here. I think basically the 60 or the 45 volts from the solenoid jumped on the 5 volts and fried. So on this one here, that blew off that chip there, blew off some of these chips on the displays. I've went ahead and fixed another one of these. So I might fix this one. It's only got a little bit of burn. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to the customer. These two are really burnt, so I'm not gonna mess with fixing them. I've got plenty of old displays I can put in here. All right, so this game is electronically pretty much ready to go. I haven't done anything to playfield, but it's still waiting for the new lamp board. But went through all the boards, fixed 3 of the displays. This one, you know, it's still got some burn, but it's a match unit. I'll tell you where I come down on these match units, or just having one display that's not quite perfect, so everybody knows that it's a real displays and not LEDs. That's where I like having one that's just not quite perfect. Honestly, I do. On an old Bally like that, I think it adds value, doesn't take away value. In my mind, anyway. I'm sure that's not the case for everybody. And I'm gonna just swap these other 2 out because those are pretty bad burns. So I'm gonna get a couple from the back. But this game is. If I grab a ball here real quick. Got a nice Gottlieb flippers. Yeah, this thing is like about to fall out. The bushing is gone. Wow, that's a really heavy spring. No, we're not slid down into. There we go. Play one-handed here. We have no controlled lights because the board's missing. But otherwise, it's shooting and scoring. See if the pop bumpers. Yeah, pop bumpers are working. No. Yeah, and the ball's getting all kinds of places it shouldn't because the crusty rubbers. Can't really play it. Anyway, see if drop targets will drop. Yep. So the switches are working. It's doing pinball kind of things. Wow, these pop bumpers actually sound fairly decent. They'll sound even better once I rebuild them. Anyway, so yeah, I got some. That's what those are going to look like when they get replaced. Got the capsule in order. Those are coming. So yeah, this thing is going to look a lot better. Put some new rubbers on it. Jane's going to clean it up. Going to get rid of this abomination. I may leave it just for Jesse because he loves them so much. Anyway, if you like the videos, click like and hit the subscribe button. Adios.